My name is Spencer Wirth-Davis, also go by Big Cats. I'm a musician and producer from Minneapolis. I'm a hip-hop producer. To be a hip-hop producer basically means you make beats.
Yeah, we like that.
Most of the time I work with a group called The Tribe and Big Cats, which consists of me and rapper Chris Hooks. I also work a lot with a rapper and spoken word artist named Guante.
So here's what you can expect. A burlap sack with a dollar sign on it or a check. They'll throw it at your feet and ask you to dance. They'll point rocket launchers at your feet and ask you to dance. I never dance.
Spencer creates compositions that are complex and interesting and multi-layered and dynamic and different, but he also has a pop ear. And I think that's rare with producers. Usually it's kind of one or the other. Like you really make kind of fun, dumb music, or you make really smart, not so enjoyable music. But when you can get a producer who can put those impulses together, I think that's really special.
Thank God we made it. No Rolls Royce, Chevy driven on the pavement with heavy pavements.
Spencer's music has a reverence for traditional hip-hop sounds, but it's also not married to these traditional hip-hop norms. It's also pushing forward at the same time.
Is that good life? Good life? Is that good life? Good life? Good life? Is that good life? Good life? Good life?
I think it helps to have a background in music theory, but then also to have a background as a musician and to play an instrument. You know, a lot of the people that I work with now have classical training in music. But when you call it being classically trained, it sounds like something different, you know, but it's not. It's just, if you learned music as a kid, that's classical training. I guess you don't hear about it a lot because it's not that cool. You know, as I'm making hip hop, that doesn't help me as a as a producer to be like, no, I know scales. Like nobody cares, you know. So I think that's why you don't hear about it much. I don't think it's that uncommon though. I mean, I know a lot of producers who have classical training in music. You know, any producer that makes hip-hop has a love of other types of music as well, you know, if nothing else, through sampling. Sampling is basically taking a portion of someone else's music. It might be one piano chord, it might be a little vocal line, and combining that either with other samples or with live instruments, with drum machines, synths, to create a new piece of music. As a producer, sampling kind of limits how far you can take your music. If you have uncleared samples in your music, meaning that you don't have permission to be using those samples, that's music that you then can't license for commercial work, for TV, for film. But at the same time, that's really the sound, that's the aesthetic that I love, that I grew up listening to. And so I wanted to try and create a record that sounded like that without actually sampling other people's work. In 2011, I received a Composer's Fellowship from the American Composers Forum and the McKnight Foundation. The day after I got the fellowship, I quit my job and started working on music full-time. And it was really amazing how much I was able to get done when I wasn't trying to, you know, cram it into evenings after work or on weekends, and was really able just to focus entirely on music for that time. The project is named for my mother after my mom, Christy, who died from ovarian cancer. She was, you know, a big influence on my art and sort of instilling the value of creativity early on. And when she died, I knew that I wanted to do something sort of in her honor. It seemed fitting to me to make music, and something that I think she would have liked and would have listened to.
All right, cool. Maybe just like, Joe, you can sustain something through that and maybe just drop the piano for a while?
For this record specifically, I wrote a bunch of songs, and then I got a bunch of musicians together, and we recorded those songs.
All right, let's do it one more time.
I then brought all those recordings back here to Waterbury, and then just started sampling from those sessions like I would from a stack of records. Pulling out a drum break that I liked, pulling out a vocal phrase or something, and building new songs around those. added some more instrumentation on top of that, brought in strings, brought in more vocalists. And then I had the 10 songs that ended up on the record. I think it's some of my best work. I wouldn't say it's a hip-hop record. You know, there's as much R&B as there is hip-hop in it. You know, there are elements of jazz and soul too. It's a very dense record that, you know, doesn't feel like it's missing anything, but a lot of the time there's not, you know, a clear melody or a clear lead part. It's a little more atmospheric.
Big cats, Spencer Wirth-Davis. Big cats.
Big cats, everybody.
Thank you so much for coming out. If you haven't grabbed the record yet, please do that. If you have a mom, give her a hug. Thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Minnesota Original is made possible by the State Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.